So Odell, tell me what you remember about, go back to JV basketball when we were on the same team together. What do you remember about warm-ups before a game? What do you remember?
Sweet Georgia Brown.
Sweet
Georgia
Georgia
Brown, and we had these shirts. Coach Waters got us these shirts in our warm-up, how we had the Middleton warm-up, you know, like UCLA, that was his team. And then you take that off, and you had on these shirts. I think it was like a tan type shirt and everything. And it was just good. And then we did the figure 8 type things, all those different things. I remember that, and it just felt good. And, you know, being on this end of the court, this was my end of the court. This was always the end of the court that I really enjoyed.
This was where you scored most of your
That's
points?
where I scored my points. We used to, you know, post up down here, and we just post up and just understood it because it was really like brutal force. So what do you remember the most?
I remember Sweet Georgia Brown. That was excitement in Middleton basketball.
Yes.
And back there in that very corner, we had the pep band.
Yep.
And the team would come in, I think, through this door, and the fans were everywhere. Students were all up and down. And I just remember the excitement of Sweet Georgia Brown, and it created energy in the players.
Yes.
And so it was just a great environment to play basketball.
Do you remember Coach Waters' voice echoing off the rafters here, just yelling and screaming and all that good stuff?
I do. I remember that. You know, you spoke a little bit about Jerry being tough,
yes,
and building character. Talk about that. What do you remember just in being on the court? What was it?
Right here. I mean, Jerry, big thing about Coach Waters was he would say, you stop right here and let the baseline help you, and you better not let somebody get around you. So, you know, it's interesting. Right here, this is where you learn that when you play, you better do it all the way. Even he said you could even step out of bounds because you're going to not let that man get around you. Stuff like that, the details. Coach Waters was a master of the details.
Yes.
That 50Z, remember that?
I remember it.
75Z.
I remember 90Z.
90Z, exactly. And the whole thing of the stack offense. I love the stack. We would get up there, and you come down, pick for your man. He'd go up, and you're on the block. I loved it because I knew I was going to get the ball. I knew I was going to get the ball, and that was a big deal.
Who do you remember as far as the players, the other players, your peers? Who did you enjoy the most playing with at Middleton?
John LeBoer.
John
in a
LeBoer.
crazy way. John LeBoer, people may not know that name. He was a great football player. Yep. John played hard, but John wasn't a basketball player. John was a football player. But John, the way he played, man, he brought that energy. And Frank Russ. Frank Russ was one of the most intelligent players ever. He was like a coach on the floor.
Right. Mm-hmm. You know, you speak about, it's so funny that you remember about keeping your foot and stepping over the out of bounds line, because I remember on 90Z we were gonna trap, and we had a play in the trap, and you better get your foot outside that bounce. So the same thing. I remember the same stuff.
I mean, he was so big on the details, and it worked. And he would always say, Odell, I love 50Z and 90Z because we could be aggressive. And they won't call fouls on us. You know, we played some man-to-man, but he didn't like zone. He didn't like zone, and he just did what he did, man. Right. This was his classroom. We were his students.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember defense wins games.
Yeah.
Because everybody was willing to score, but defense won games. So tell me, what do you think about that, or what?
You're right. I mean, when we won the national championship, I'm skipping from Middleton to the national championship in college. It was a defensive battle. We were playing Biola from California, and they were undefeated the whole year. And coach said, we're going to out-tough them. We're going to play defense. And defense meant taking charges. Meaning that you're going to stand there, and you're going to let a 230-pound guy just bowl you over. And if you didn't take that charge, Jerry would snatch your behind and put you on the bench because you wasn't tough enough to take a charge.
So I remember in practice, that very drill, we stood right here, and Jerry said, you're going to stand there, and Odell, you're going to come down this lane, and you're just going to go right over him. And we're like, what? What is this?
That was Jerry.
It made you tough.
It made you tough. It made you tough. And again, maybe some of the things we did, today's students probably coaches can't get away with doing or couldn't do or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the days of the Jerry Waters and the Bobby Knights,
Right.
they are gone, but they're still here. Let me ask a question for you.
Mm.
When you look at Jerry and you see this ball, he will ever be with us, right?
Yes.
When I share this with you, what do you think?
Yeah.
And that's my gift
Oh my
to
gosh.
you.
Thank you. I remember having a conversation with Jerry probably about 15 years ago. I can't remember when you came out with the book. How long ago was that?
I
It
think
was
2012. I don't know.
2012.
I think so. You know, I'm
And
getting older now.
And I remember calling Jerry Waters and getting choked up because the impact he had on me as a person, and you've already talked about it, just the impact of sports and learning how to be tough,
Yes, sir.
how to apply yourself to a situation, and how to overcome adversity. And that's when I look at Jerry Waters, I also think he had a way of motivating, and you spoke of it, that he didn't have to, he was tough on us, but he had a way of, you wanted to play well for him.
Oh, yeah.
He had such
Oh,
a
yeah.
reputation.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he got the best out of the players. I remember the man on the ball drill,
Oh, yeah.
which was extremely,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
extremely
yeah.
difficult because
Yes.
you had to turn the offensive guy, you had to get in your defensive position, and you had to move really up and up.
Mike, I haven't thought about that in years, but now when you think about it, Jerry took all the pieces and broke it down. Man on the ball is like, okay, you're going to be there, and that's what it's going to do. Are you okay? I know you're looking at Jerry's obituary. And
That's okay. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
But the man on the ball drill, so you did that, and then when Jerry put it all together, when he put it all together, and that's how we won the national championship in college. We weren't the best talent, but we were the best. And we had the best coach.